I get on to my question, only because I heard book recommendations for the previous call. Do you mind if I make one quick?
Yes.
Depends on what it is.
It does not necessarily reflect us until after we hear it.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about recommending reading the Bible. Probably good.
Dianetics or whatever, right? No, the only reason I call it to mind is because the last caller mentioned the bones of Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a wonderful book that was written around the turn of the century called When It Was Dark. Christopher Hitchens is one of Hitchens' favorite books. And the author was a man called Guy Thorne, and it actually chronicles an archaeological team that happens upon what's certain to be the corpse of Jesus, which therefore disavows the entire resurrection story. And I actually do debates myself here in the Minneapolis area.
Oh, really?
On the atheist side, and I use that as a literary allusion when we're discussing morality. So that'd be my recommendation for anyone who cares to hear it.
That's awesome, man. We both wrote that down. We want to check it out.
Yeah.
So,
hear that.
What did you want to ask us about today?
Yes, sir. So my question concerns the ideal of free will as an argument for theists.
You are free to talk about it.
Yeah. Well, very often I find myself in debate with theists, as I mentioned, and the one hump that I can never quite get over is the ideal of free will. And part of it is it seems like such a non sequitur to me, right? The idea of free will surely would not prove the existence of a deist, let alone an intervening theist.
Right.
No.
So I suppose my question is, when you've come up against these free will arguments from theists in your lives, how do you best combat that? Do you have a so-called script, as it were, that you follow?
I've actually had quite a few really long talks with theists about it. But
Here, what I would say is for the viewers at home that do less, let me disagree with someone with unbelievably firmly held beliefs arguments at home. You want to summarize what the points of one of these arguments might be? Either Josh or you.
No, I'd be happy to. I'd like to give my experience in that, actually. When it comes to free will, one of the main fallacies you're bumping up against is the appeal to consequence. It's terrifying. It's terrifying, the idea that we don't have any agency, because how can you justify the criminal justice system if we don't have any control over it? And so you have all of these really, really wild questions that come up, and so it's easier for everybody to just say, no, everybody has free will. But there have been some really amazing studies that have come out that have shown that in the brain, you can see activity happening. You can see a choice being made subconsciously before you actively do it. And so, and as far as I'm concerned, I think we live in a completely physical world. There's nothing else driving us. And so, do we have free will? I loved bringing that up with a Christian friend of mine. And really, my go-to is heaven. I ask them, is there free will? And, are you happy in heaven? And yes. Is there free will in heaven? Yes. Would you be happy knowing that I was in hell? And that got him really, really stumped. Because what he was left with was either A, he was being taken charge, he was being affected such that he could not think the way that he wanted to. He would have his free will revoked by going to heaven. And that was, it's upsetting to think. Are you going to be the same person when you get to heaven if you can't be sad about people that you love, right? And so that was kind of a 1-2 hitting different things, but I loved that because the best thing to do is say, I don't know, but you're not going to find a theist that says it.
No.
So that's kind of where I went with it. What about you, Jamie?
Well, there's a few things I think that we need to unpack. It depends on, you got to have an extra pair of socks, so we'll unpack that first. But what kind of free will are you talking about? Like,
yes,
libertarian free will, or the kind of free will like Do you mean the ability of a person to have done something other than what they did, right, in like a deterministic world, or do you mean the ability of a person to choose what they want?
Yes, so sort of Hegel's representation of free will in there's a universe of right and a universe of wrong. And the theist argument that I hear is because of God, we're given the right to act wrongly, if that makes sense. It always seems to me to be what's that phrase? Escape hatch argument.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that was so. Right and wrong, and then also it does seem the argument that I get is that it is deterministic, that the ability to make a choice could not have happened were it not for the impulse of divinity.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, so the argument you get is it's deterministic because God made your choice for you? Sorry, is that like, I mean, I realize that's not your argument, and so I shouldn't be like, that argument, you, sir, who have just said this to me, but...
well, it just goes right around in a really big circle.
Yeah, but...
Well, as do all theist arguments.
Yeah, but
like
I'll take that over the precept. I'll take that over the precept. And for just the audience, it's all presuppositional apologetics is the idea that you are coming in having knowledge and you can have knowledge that the other person's not privy to. The most
Well, it's I am right because you can't know anything without
God.
Without God. I know God, and that's how I know the things, and I know that you know God. Why are you saying that you don't know God? Because you do.
And you can't know anything
and it's sort of
until
like,
you
no,
accept Jesus and do.
Let me think. I don't believe in God. Nope, you're wrong about what you believe. I already know. Is kind of what it boils down to. But they find different ways of saying that. We got off on precept apologetics.
But yeah, what do you use? You said you debate. What's your go-to? What's in your toolbox, and what are you willing to share with us?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I'm presented with the free will argument, I generally try to turn it then towards a morality argument, which is surprisingly, in my experience, I don't know if it's been different for either of you two, but it's actually surprisingly easy to do. And then, as I mentioned, I mentioned the book When It Was Dark, and I'm going to cut myself off a little bit here because I don't want to spoil the ending for either of you two.
No, please.
Sounds like you had
is it
interest in it.
Is it fiction?
It's fiction, yeah. Basically, as I mentioned, it's this archaeological team that happens upon what's thought to be the corpse of Jesus, and I'll be very, very brief. The news that they found the body of Christ and that therefore the resurrection has been disproved spreads around the world, and as the news of it spreads, darkness descends around the world, and the idea is by having Jesus been effectively disproven, moral chaos descends. And
What's Pat Robertson going to do with his life now?
Well, hang out with Ted Haggard, obviously.
When did this become the Inside Baseball show? But
sorry,
go on. No, go ahead.
Go blue on your show. Oh gosh, where was I?
You were talking about without Jesus, moral chaos.
He was talking about, as far as it happens in the book When It Was Dark.
Yes, I have it now. So then my very next statement is it's ridiculous for anyone to think that way, that just because we happen upon the realization that indeed there is no God and there's empiric proof to demonstrate that therefore moral chaos descends and we become animals. And that's my general go-to. I have a debate coming up actually with a pastor of a Methodist church at the end of the month. So
you know what?
To be clear, is this an expositional debate, or is it you've just agreed to meet with him in a room and argue?
Yeah, I suppose the latter. I'm not above an argument either. I like to any more.
Oh, okay. So it's not like come one, come all, see a pastor debate.
Oh no, it certainly is.
Okay.
Do
you have someone
I get
filming?
moderating?
Oh, filming.
Filming? Yeah, I plan to.
So here's what you
Send me
should
a
do. You should send it to our Reddit because I totally want to see it.
Oh, sure.
Really?
Choose the
I
one
love that.
platform that you are on at least as much as I am.
Okay, or email it to mail@talkinghead.com.
Send it to
and then Jenny
Facebook,
can do it.
because then he'll get on Facebook.
I don't like it.
Or tweet the link at me.
And then I'll never see it.
You always talk over my Twitter handle.
Go.
No, 'cause then I
Reason
can just-
underscore.
Or evidence. At reason underscore evidence.
Yeah.
Although usually.
Reason underscore evidence?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
It's the one that I started arguing with creationists on Twitter with.
Ah, sounds like
True
fun.
confessions.
Right.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And I suppose I was trying to think if I don't want to step on anyone else's call, so I shouldn't squander my time.
Well,
but,
we'll tell you when your call is done.
I'm curious. What's the most common argument that either of you two see for theism?
Look at the trees. Look at the fucking trees.
Yeah.
I get that.
see
No,
the trees.
my favorite is, have you ever seen a sunset? And I go, look, come on. I want to respect your opinion, but let's be a little bit more intellectually honest with each other than that.
Yeah, it's really pretty when the light from the sun is bending around the curvature of the earth as affected by gravity and dispersed by the atmosphere, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, thank God for making the atmosphere, of course.
Or the.
so wait, does
the
that mean
complexity.
CFCs can destroy God by cutting out the ozone layer? And or is that the wrong acronym?
Yeah, we've got that one, and then we've got everything is so complex it cannot be just random.
Yeah.
The watchmaker. Yep.
Yeah. To be clear, was your question what do we get most often on the show, or just in our lives generally?
Oh gosh. Well, I suppose either or. I was thinking specifically on the show, but certainly.
Oh,
Yeah.
where do you get your morality?
Um,
We got that a couple times.
Yeah. Well, for me, the one that I get most often off the show is some version of it just makes sense, or it's the only way that things make sense. And
I also want to leave y'all with the line. I think that's one of my first Texas y'alls.
well, if you have a line,
is
you have to take care of it.
Pendulette's line.
Leave it with them.
I do all the raping that I want to do, which is 0. Right?
Yeah. Don't pause for too long in between those two statements.
Right? It's I do all of the killing that I want to do, which is 0. See, better. I do all of the theft and the other abhorrent actions that I want to do because
Which is too many.
I'm a moral creature, and just because we need to talk about it and just because we want to explore it doesn't mean that we're immoral. Just because we're not walking into it saying, oh, I've got it handled. It's the invisible man in the sky.
Yes.
Or woman, depending on who you talk to.
And any theist that makes that argument of you'd only know morality through God, it seems to me comes dangerously close to having any number of atheists say, well, wait a minute, the Bible is the most positively violent, genocidal, misogynistic book out there.
It's up there.
Yeah.
It's up there.
I almost wish
read
I
worse.
was close friends with Dawkins just so I could ask if I could play the clip of when he's reading.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Of when he's reading The God Delusion,
okay?
and he just does the intro where it's like, the God of the Bible is the most horrible character in all fiction, and then he just finishes like that paragraph as I would say well written, and just to hear Dawkins say it.
Yeah. I don't think it's the most immoral, but it is way up
I'm
there.
not here to argue about characters in fiction.
It's fun. I like comic books and stuff, and Thanos snapped his finger and destroyed half the life in the universe.
Yeah.
Come on, and it was way cooler. Like
But
you didn't
he's
have all the
involved in,
begats
like
and crap.
cool fight scenes. So.
Can you guys still hear me okay?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, are you going on to speakerphone or something?
No, my phone's stupid.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that.
I've been there.
I am doubtful that your phone is capable of Intelligent thought.
rational,
Yeah.
intelligent thought. Well, to be fair, I'm very often surprised by how many humans I think are capable of intelligent thought. Let's see. I suppose I hate to cut our time short.
No,
but,
that's all right.
Yeah.
Keep
Well,
it succinct and
you
call
can-
back.
You can call back
yeah, well,
and keep in touch with us in the intervening time on. At this point, we should just have like a short video where we very quickly list all of the ways of contacting us.
Are you ready?
Just play it.
Mail at talkheathen.com. MAIL at talkheathen.com.
The Facebook page, Talk Heathen.
Our Reddit, reddit.com/r/talkheathen.
My Twitter handle, at reason_evidence.
Or you can stand on a street corner and just yell about it for a while. That could be fun.
Or you
call-
can send us a message by Messenger Fox.
You can call in when we're live by dialing 1-512-686-0279. And dude, Josh, do email. We answer them. We read them. And I'm absolutely excited about finding out more about your debate.
Oh, I would love that. I actually, and I appreciate that. I actually have one more thing, if there's time.
Let's make
Well,
it quick
is it
so
a
we can
quick
move
one?
on to the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll be very quick. So I actually had the pleasure of speaking with Peter Hitchens last year, Christopher's brother. I interviewed him for a little over an hour. You can find it on YouTube. But one of the things he says to me is he's learned over a fairly long life that there is no such thing as temporal justice, secular justice. And that's why he feels that he has to believe in an afterlife, because that is where
Consequential.
Yeah,
Sorry.
exercising your freedom or morality immorally. And this might be a lazy question to cap off our discussion, but I'm just curious what either of you two think about that statement.
If reality is bad and you don't like it, that doesn't mean that you should believe that it's different.
Ooh, I like that. That could be like one, like a meme we just send around. That was clever. I like it. What he said, I like that. He said it, but then I said it too, so now I get the sub credit with him.
Yeah.
Rock on. All right. I very much appreciate taking my call. This was a real pleasure, and hopefully I'll call in again. I'll be able to call it again soon.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Josh.
All right. Good talking to you.
Thanks, guys.
Take
Yes,
care.
sir.
Good talking heathen to you.
Ooh, damn
There it
it.
is.